There's been an ongoing medical problem that I've been ignoring, and I'm afraid to even mention it to my doctors because I got so many health issues from childhood that to deal with my father and doctors and Social Security. I don't want to just confuse them. Plus, with my father going, he's a storyteller, he's a fantasy spinner, it's a red herring. If I add this one, I mean, come on, now it's getting kind of ridiculous. So what it is I've had many seizures and head injuries. After one of them many years ago, I just healed up, went on with my life, and blah, 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 had another seizure, blah, blah, blah. About 3 years ago, I itched the back of my head and I felt a sharp pain. Now, it almost feels like a vein or a slug or a worm or a cancerous growth. It almost like a slight U vein, like almost like a vein sticks out of your penis, maybe foot, uh, near your elbow. It's just really out there. There is no vein in your body that sticks out this much, I don't think. So I don't know if it's a vein. I mean, how could a vein get so big and so thick? I mean, it's as thick. It's way thicker than a phone charger. I would say it's as thick as skinnier than your pinky, thicker than a phone charger. It's on the back of my head. It's soft. It's like the texture of a worm. It's under my skin completely, on the outside of the skull. Wasn't there ever. And whenever it even gets itched, touched, tapped, or anything, it gets extremely painful. Well, if I just itch it for a second, a little painful. But if I scratch it too hardly, I go, oh, I felt that one. Now, 3 years ago, I said, oh, it's probably just a bruise. I bumped my head. Then a month later, it's still there. A year later, oh my God, it's still there and it still hurts as much when I itch it. A year later, it still hurts when I itch it. Last month, I itched it, it still hurts the same amount. Just now, not even 5 minutes ago, I have a hair tie on. It's right under there, right about here. Let's see if I can. Oh, yeah, right. Where are you? Yeah. Oh, yep, right. Yeah, that's it right there. Right there is where it is under my hair, but there's nothing visible. There's nothing visible there at all. So it's not like there's anything to see when I shaved it. I mean, I have had short hair since then. I have even pushed the hair aside. I've even taken pictures, double mirrors. Just looks like skin, maybe a slight indentation, but not much you can see. So, what the hell could it be? So, you get a seizure, you get a head injury, and now there's a super thick vein or something on the outside of my skull, under my skin, that whenever it's touched for 3 years, hurts extremely. And if I scratch it, it hurts extremely. If I touch it, it's a minor pain. That shouldn't last for that long. So it's probably, I hope it's not a blood clot. I really hope it's not a blood clot. Then again, that is where I whacked it into gravel. I mean, I had so many seizures on the side of the road. Then again, my father is wanting this. Remember, my father has got every chance to let me handle this and go to the doctors in the last 25 years. He's the one that keeps on mentioning this fantasy red herring bullshit. And then my mother was the one who convinced him and totally brainwashed him and me. And even I repeated some of the stuff that my father is saying. I'm not kidding. My mother convinced me that being sad is depression. She tried to convince me that I needed Zyprexa for playing with action figures, and playing with action figures means I'm schizophrenic. The doctors knew I wasn't, and they told her to stop it. They wouldn't even give her the drug. They said, no, I'm not giving you that drug. There's nothing wrong with your child. Why do you want to drug it? So, yeah. I mean, if my father wasn't calling me all these names and calling me a shithead and all this crap, yeah, I'd walk right into my doctor and be like, what's this? But the emergency room and doctors, even when I have a seizure, are like, what the fuck? We don't see anything before 12, and what the fuck? Up, down, side to side. Look at all these drug lists. And Zach says this, and then he says this, and then he says this. Zach is making no sense. I mean, he seems to make sense now, but during age 20, I mean, what the hell was he talking about at age 20 and 19? And his mother seems to be very sure that he's suicidal and self-harming. She says he self-harmed in the pool. He self-harmed at age 5 by sucking his skin. He's self-harming by, what was the other one in Westford? Anyways, I'm trying to think of my vein on the back. We don't need to go into all the examples, but self-harming. Yeah, that's why I sometimes put myself in the flashback to go through them, and it's bad. It's bad to go through your PTSD memories, but I'm used to it. But I'm not going to go into the hospital and tell this to them if they're just going to think it's another red herring, and if they're not even going to try to take a look. They'll probably shave the back of my head, do no x-rays, no testing, and go, you're fine. Just skin. There's no scab there. You didn't bump your head. I had a seizure and hit my head 3 years ago. I'm talking about a vein or something way under. Well, we don't